I'm Drew Taylor, and you're tuned in to another edition of Valpo Sportsnite here on VUTV. On today's show, training camp is in full swing across the NBA. We'll also discuss the newcomers on the men's basketball team. But first things first, here are my guests, Brock Galyon, VUTV Sports Analyst, and Mark Westendorp, VUTV Basketball Insider. Guys, first topic here, the Valpo men's soccer team has not won a game since August 27th, 6 losses and 2 ties in total. Is it time to be concerned?
I think you look at these 6 games that they lost. 5 of them, they only lost 1-0.
Right.
So our defense is still playing great, and Zobek in goal is still doing great. The goals just aren't coming. We've nearly outshot our opponents, nearly doubling our opponents' shots, and we're still not putting it in the goal. So I think that, like last time I was on, I said that the goals will come, and since they're still not coming, we have our next game against Cleveland State, our next in-conference game. This is a must-win for the team. I think it's going to be a must-win for them.
Yeah, basically what I was saying is that we've only had 8 goals on the year, but 6 of them came in the only win against St. Joseph's, which is a D2 school. So when you break it down, it's only against D1 schools, only scored twice. But like Brock said, he outshooting them, so the chances are there. It's just once we put the ball in the back of the net, things are going to start moving forward, and I think we'll finish strong going into the tournament this year.
My impression from attending the games is that the Crusaders are controlling the pace. It's just, like you mentioned, things aren't falling for them. They don't have that energy and that feeling like they used to have.
It's just that click. It's just not clicking for them right now. I still feel like they can get that click on them, and it's still not. The season's not over yet.
No.
So they still have a chance to do well in the season. This is an important game for them to beat Cleveland State. Cleveland State's the bottom of the standings right now in the Horizon League. So this is a very important game. If we can win this game, I'd maybe get a couple goals, see where that takes us.
I mean, if recent history tells anything, it's that if you get hot at the right time, that's all that matters. Last year, Loyola came in and upset Valpo when they hosted the Horizon League Championships. So, again, if the Crusaders are getting by, I guess, but then they can peak at the right time, I'm not really worried. Coach Mike Avery knows how to coach at this level and will get his players ready. Moving on, guys, to the women's soccer team. They began Horizon League schedule 2-1. They've only allowed 3 goals in their last 8 matches as well. Are they the favorite to represent the conference in the NCAA tournament?
I don't know about the sole favorite. We're probably co-favorites with Milwaukee, who actually just came in. That is the 1 loss of the year, so that's going to be something we're going to have to make up for. But like you said, there's only 3 goals in the past 8 games, which means that the defense is clearly just keeping us in it. So it's just a matter of, again, just putting the ball in the back of the net, and I feel like they can do that as well. And they should be the #1 seed, hopefully. And if you host, we've only lost 1 time at home to Milwaukee, so hopefully a little bit of redemption there. But I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do.
Okay.
I think we had a big win against Detroit the other day. Right now we're tied with Detroit and Milwaukee on top of the standings right now in the Horizon League. But yeah, I think as well, I agree with Mark, co-favorite with Milwaukee right now. I think it's going to come down to both of us staying strong through the rest of the season. I think it might come down to the Horizon Championship game between us and Milwaukee, and whoever wins that game is going to take it.
Fair enough. Let's move on to Valpo volleyball now. Since taking the Hoosier Classic, guys, the volleyball team is now 3-3 since that time. Are you convinced that this is the team that can go deep in the Horizon League Championships?
I still think it is. One of those losses was out of conference, and 2 of the losses South Dakota State, and 2 of the losses came to Cleveland State and UIC, who are both on top of us in conference. And then one of our 3 wins did come against the only other team that's on top of us in the conference, which is Loyola.
Okay.
So the Cleveland State game, we were actually down 2-0, and we came back 2 sets, and we almost won the 3rd. We only lost 15-10 in the last set. Okay. So we almost took that match. Okay. We had a bad game against UIC, but I still think this team, once they get clicking, I still think that this team will be able to make a run deep into the Horizon League tournament.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that they have a good chance because the talent's clearly there. If you go into Indiana and you win 3 straight games, take their classic away from them in their home court, then clearly it's there. It's just like a little consistency issue right now with going win-loss. But I think the next 2 weeks is going to be big to see because the Wisconsin trip's coming up, back-to-back games at Milwaukee, at Green Bay. That's always tough for any sport. And then turn around the next week and we host Loyola and UIC, and 3 of those teams, minus Green Bay, is at the bottom of the conference. They're all above us in the conference. So after this 2 weeks, we're going to figure out where we really stand going into the conference tournament.
I'm very encouraged. I think this team can do a lot of great things. If they can string a couple wins together, you mentioned the Milwaukee trip, or the Wisconsin trip, excuse me. If they can win both those, or even just split, show me something that they're moving in the right direction and going to finish out the season strong. Guys, let's move on to the Valpo football team now. Another double-digit loss. With that, point to a positive in the season so far, and if you haven't seen one so far, give a Crusader fan some reason to be hopeful the rest of the way.
I got a little both.
Okay.
I mean, last time I did say that our football team, our passing game has been looking strong, and when we went to the Butler, I went and watched the Butler game. We did start to run the ball a little bit. We were trying to get a running game going. Our running back did get injured, but we still kept with it. We got a little runs. We got our runs here and there. So I think they're trying to get some running game going. So I mean, I think that is a positive note. But on a positive note for the future, we have played the hardest teams in the Horizon League on our schedule so far.
Pioneer football, yeah.
Yeah, we've played the top of the standings so far.
Yeah.
The rest of the season is the entire bottom of the standings right now, including a winless Davidson school and a Campbell team that we beat last year.
Campbell Camels.
Yep, Campbell Camels. So I'm hoping that the weakest part of the hardest part of our schedule done. We got the weaker schedule left. I'm hoping we'll be able to pull something out with those weaker opponents.
One thing I noticed as well from the game this weekend is the offense is improving. There is a little rhythm getting going with the no huddle. It's just that sometimes the drives would stall with maybe a fumble, or there was one time where we got down to the 25 and didn't even get a field goal. And
even penalties are hurting us right now.
Right. Penalties as well. So it's just the offense is getting better, and that is one thing. When your offense is playing better, it's better on your defense. You can rest them more. So then time of possession goes in your favor too. So the offense is looked for them to improve in the second half of the season and maybe get some wins in.
Two things here, guys. I think the rushing game is improving. They rushed for over 100 against Butler, which is a positive sign. But on the flip side, you cannot turn the ball over. Coach Carlson alluded to it after the game. He said, you can't turn the ball over your first two possessions. At homecoming, you got a lot of energy, a lot of fan support. You go out in your first two possessions and turn the ball over, that's going to affect you the rest of the game, and I think they were done after the first two possessions in my mind. Guys, let's move on to the Valpo basketball team. They begin their preseason schedule later this month. There are no freshmen on this roster, but a lot of new faces. I know Mark is very familiar with that. Which newcomer will have the biggest impact this season?
New player this year will be Bobby Capabianco. 6'9", big body, can play down low, but he can also spread it out, and he can shoot the three ball a lot better than people would first imagine when you look at him, because he's just big, strong, and going to play in the post. But the reason I pick him is because he's transferred from Indiana, who was with the team last year, so he's been through the whole Bryce system. He knows the offense, knows the defense, he knows the guys and everything. So he's going to gel really well, and he's just going to be able to fit in right away.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Alex Rossi. I've heard good things about him. I heard he was a highly recruited player out of high school. He went out to California, but he transferred over here. He's a 6'6". He's a big body, but he can shoot the ball. He's a very good shooter from outside in the perimeter. I think this just gives us another threat on the outside instead of our small shooters taking shots out there. He adds some height out there, adds some problems for other teams.
Bobby Capabianco had a less than impressive tenure at Indiana. However, I kind of throw those numbers out because he brings Big Ten experience, that tenacity that he's had to face some of the best big men in the nation. And he's bringing that Big Ten experience to the Horizon League, which I think is a guard-heavy league. With the exception of Detroit, I think Bobby Capabianco can come in and really dominate down low.
You have the Big Ten experience. You get some of the guys that were there when he was there. Jared Sullinger was playing Ohio State at that time. You get some of the other big bodies down there, and I think it's a really good thing.
Quickly before we move on, projected starting five, guys.
Starting five, I think we're actually going to start out with the same that we ended the year last year. Eric Buggs, point guard, Will Bogan, Ben Boggs, Ryan Brokoff, and Kevin Van Vyk, as long as he's healthy. He's recovering from a knee surgery, but he is doing well, so I expect him to be fully back by the time the season gets going.
Yeah. So you like Bobby Capabianco, but you think he's a sixth man? Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to see him come in sixth man. He'll bring some energy. Matt Kenny off the bench always brings energy.
Always, yep.
So I look for him to win sixth man of the year, newcomer of the year for the Horizon League this year with Bobby.
I'm going to agree with Mark on that one. I still think we had a strong lineup to finish out the last season, so I think we are going to stick with our the same five that we finished the season off with last year, with Boggs, Buggs, Brokoff, Bogan, and Van Vyk.
Okay.
So
fair enough. We'll end the discussion there. When we come back, we'll debate the extent of instant replay across Major League Baseball. Stay tuned. We're coming right back right here on VUTV.
Hi everybody, I'm Dick Vitale of ESPN, and I'm on VUTV. It's awesome, baby, with a capital A.
Lollipop, lollipop, oh
We say what we want, Thursday nights at 7 p.m., only on VUTV.
Back on Valpo Sportsnite, again joining me, Brock Galyon, VUTV Sports Analyst, and Mark Westendorp, VUTV Basketball Insider. With the infield fly debacle in the Braves-Cardinals game last Friday, you guys I know both watched it. Is there a need for instant replay to expand in Major League Baseball?
I believe so personally, because right now the instant replay rules only is dealing with home runs and fan interference with the home runs. So
basically line calls, pretty much. Yeah. Okay.
Not even fair foul is included. So I feel like they should be extended because all the other sports have done it, and it's going to make the game not more fair, but it's just the calls are going to be made right. That's what the fans want now. Even though baseball tries to hold off with it, you want the right call. So in that situation, I feel like you should be able to go and review it and make the changes necessary based on video replay.
Yeah, I agree. I think they should be able to make calls on the field with video replay. Officials are never 100% correct, and people know that. This just adds, so in case they do mess up and they know they did, this allows them to go back and correct a decision they made. So I know a lot of refs are proud and stuff like that what call they make, but I think adding instant replay for infield fly calls or even just close plays at a base, for allowing that to get the game correct, I think this would make a lot more sense.
You're right. If we've learned anything from this fall, is that fans will not accept poor officiating across the board. I mean, it's just not acceptable anymore, especially with the technology that we do have to go back and replay and get the call right, as Mark alluded to. What is your proposal for doing this? I know you say we should extend it. What, do you have a coach's challenge, or do you have replay booth upstairs? How would you guys see that playing out?
I would probably go with a coach's challenge.
Okay.
Just because there's so many different plays in baseball, and the game already takes a while as it is. You don't want to replay every single play and just add on hours to the game. So I think you should give the coaches or managers one challenge, and then if you get it right, you just keep it, and if not, then you lose your challenge for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think the coach should be able to just give a challenge, and then I'd say maybe even two. Just and the coach football setup is right now. If they get that challenge, they get one more. But then if they lose it, they just still have one more. But then it's done after that.
Okay. More importantly, we talked about the umpires. Give me quickly who you think is going to move on past this round.
This round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
I like how the Reds are playing right now.
Okay.
They look strong against the Giants right now. They're only one game away, as well as the Tigers.
Okay.
I think the Orioles can still have a chance against the Yankees. I think they're gonna. I want to pick the Orioles, pick that series, and then I also want.
That's a good feeling.
Yeah,
that's a good field pick. Yeah. Everybody wants the Orioles to win.
I do want the Orioles to win, and I still do. I still think they can play. They're playing their AL East rival, the Yankees. I think they're gonna win that series.
Okay.
And then the other side with the Nationals, I think the Nationals are gonna take the other series.
I'd agree with him on almost all of them, except for I feel like the Yankees, since they've had so many players who have been there, they've done that. So when it comes down to it, they're probably gonna be more relaxed in a situation, less stress on them. They're going to be able to go ahead and do that. But I still give the Orioles a great chance. That one's still 50-50 in my opinion. Okay. The Reds and Tigers each are up already 2-0.
Right.
So they only have to win one more game out of the next three.
The Reds are going back to Cincinnati too, only having to win one. That's
the Reds have a great offense. The Tigers have Miguel Cabrera won the Triple Crown. It doesn't hurt to have him in the middle of your lineup. So I'd expect all of those to go through.
Okay, let's move on, guys. Week 2 of the NFL officials back in action. What, if any, are the long-term effects that the NFL will have to suffer because of this referee lockout?
Really, I think they reacted fast enough to the situation when it got out of hand, like completely out of hand. They had
some would argue it was out of hand week 1, but okay.
I mean, I agree with that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was starting to get completely out of hand at the end of the week 3 is when it happened, and especially with that Packers-Seattle game.
That brought it to light. Everybody was watching.
Everybody was watching that game, and everybody knew that call was I made the wrong call. So I think that they saved the season for them. I still think they have a strong base of viewing, and I think that people everybody knew that they replaced the officials back to the original core. So I think people knowing that they're still gonna make a decent amount of publicity for the season.
Well, with officials, the fans are never going to like them in the first place. No. But one of the things that I noticed, besides obviously some of the calls you'd see on the field, is that they didn't handle situations well with scrums on the field with coaches. It seemed like coaches and the players almost took advantage of the replacement officials. So it was really good that they switched over, got the deal done and everything. I don't really think there's going to be any long-term effects. It's just status quo from now on. I mean, maybe the refs will have a better arguing point when they have to work out a new deal or something like that. But long-term, I don't really see anything else happening.
I mean, I've seen players even on the field. I think they still have a little left over from when the replacement officials were there because they are still a little bit getting a little scrum on the field.
Well, it's a
here and
violent
there.
sport.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it is. But even in the past, I've seen less scrum on the field than I have in this recent year.
Do you think the NFL underestimated the power of the fans? Because look, the fan uproar after that Monday night game where clearly the Green Bay Packers should have come away with the win, in my opinion. But do you think the NFL underestimated, hey, the fans really got together in force and made this deal happen almost? They put everything back together. I think the NFL thought that, oh, we're still giving you the product of the NFL. We're not taking away the NFL. We're still giving you referees that are doing a decent job, I guess. But did they foresee this? I don't think they did.
I don't really think they underestimated the fans, and more of the fact is they just really hope something bad didn't happen and they could live with it until then.
Yeah.
So, I mean, now, but yeah, it was clear right after that game. I think there were 70,000 voicemails left to the NFL office.
Yeah.
So they weren't expecting anything ridiculous like that to happen, and that really actually did help the deal get done right away.
Yeah, I just think they weren't looking forward to the pressure that these refs were going to be on, and these refs just crashed under pressure. So
now, whether it's Roger Goodell's fault or not, how's his impression across the country? Because it's my feeling that he got the brunt of all the criticism when this deal was not done.
Yeah, I mean, you got to kind of, I mean, you look to someone whose fault it was, and I mean, it's the NFL as a whole, but since he's in charge, he's going to have to be, he's in a leadership position, he's got to understand leaders take the brunt of what's wrong with the organization.
He answers to the owners, too, so he was kind of put in a tough spot, almost. But,
and it also didn't help with the fact that right now with the bounty with the Saints, that scandal, he kind of misplayed that one as well. So he wasn't seen in the best of light going into it, and then that didn't really help him either. No.
Fair enough. We're going to step aside one last time, but stay tuned. Our quick hits section is right around the corner. You're watching Valpo Sports Night. We'll be right back. Final segment of Valpo Sports Night, our quick hits section of the program. Again, Brock and Mark joining me. NBA teams are reporting to training camp all across the country. Which new acquisition or rookie will have the biggest impact on their team this year?
All right, so rookie to start out with is clear choice is Anthony Davis. He played with the USA Olympic team, so he's already got that kind of experience going with him, and he is a great talent going into it. And then for acquisition, even the Lakers made a couple big splashes, but more than the Dwight Howard one, I think the Steve Nash one's going to end up being a little more important because he can handle the ball, so Kobe doesn't have all of it setting on him. Last year they didn't really have a good point guard, so he took a lot. He had to take control of the game, and I think Steve Nash is going to be able to come in, take control, and really work pick and roll game, get Kobe open, do all that for him.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Mark completely on this one. Anthony Davis just looks so strong in the Olympics this year. I mean, even though he wasn't a starter, he was still a bench player. And he come in, he wouldn't play against maybe the other team's strongest players. He still looked fantastic against world-class opponents.
Right.
So I think this year he'll be able to get a chance to actually make an impact with the New Orleans Hornets and actually get some strong playing time and do some good things for them. And with the Lakers, I agree with Mark that Steve Nash, I think, will be a big impact for that team with his passing abilities. I actually think that this year, I'm going to see Kobe's numbers going far down from what they've been in the past. Just because I know he is the shooter on that team, but you are bringing in two big-time players that do score and do get big numbers off. So, and just how Steve played with Amari in Phoenix, he likes dishing to the big men.
Now, there's no doubting that there's a gap between teams like the Miami Heat, the Spurs, the Lakers that we mentioned, and the Charlotte Bobcats, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Is that a problem for the NBA? Does David Stern need to address that with these teams coming in through free agency and trades, and really the rich getting richer, the Lakers getting better, the Heat always getting better? you know, these teams, there's such a division now between the top and the bottom. Is that a problem? We've seen a lot of turnover in Major League Baseball, and that's been actually pretty good for the league. You know, the Baltimore Orioles rising to the top, things of that nature. Not really seeing that in the NBA so much. Is that a problem?
It's getting to be that point when you just put like LeBron James with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, and you just add Ray Allen. Like the way you can just pick up whoever you want. That's kind of hurting it. But I still feel like it's not too bad because with the draft and everything, you can get Anthony Davis went to the Hornets. They get Austin Rivers, so the draft kind of helps out a little bit with that. And the smaller market teams do have to work a little bit harder. But when the big teams come in, that's also a big attraction as well. So I feel like financially it's kind of working out for the NBA. That's probably why they're going to hold off on that.
Okay. Yeah, I think you look at like the MLB, the Yankees and the Red Sox the past years and how they were going out and getting the big name players. I mean, even though they're older, they're still getting the big name players coming to their stadiums and stuff like that. You see all these young, as you were saying, you see these younger teams rising to the top and stuff like that. I still think there is a chance for that for the NBA.
Okay, we're halfway done with college basketball season, guys. I want to get your front runner for the Heisman Trophy this year.
For Heisman, there's probably going to be no doubt right now, Geno Smith. He's putting up video game numbers for West Virginia. He's thrown for just under 2,000 yards, 24 touchdowns, 25 overall, including one rushing touchdown, and he has no interceptions. So that's just the clear choice. And another one that could possibly challenge him would be running back D'Anthony Thomas, from Oregon. Running back that kind of plays like a Percy Harvin role, running back, wide receiver. He's getting a lot of touchdowns, gets a lot of touches, over 10 yards a carry, and receptions. So that was another person who might be able to challenge as long as West Virginia is. If they stay up there, if they keep winning and your team keeps winning, you're going to be the front runner the whole time.
I'm also agreeing with Geno Smith on that one, but I'm going to take a look at also another Big 12 quarterback in Colin Klein. Just about 900 yards passing, over 400 yards rushing. He has 14 total touchdowns on the year, 7 rushing, 7 passing. Only throwing 2 picks on the year. And he's playing for a Kansas State team that's looking pretty strong in the Big 12 right now.
Last topic, guys, we mentioned in the last segment, you talked about the teams that you see advancing to the next round of the Major League playoffs. Who's your World Series pick as it stands right now?
As it stands right now, I like how the Tigers are playing, and I like how the Reds are playing.
Okay.
They both just seem like the hottest teams right now in the playoffs. They've both looked good in both their first 2 games. Maybe it's because they're both 2-0 right now, but it's just how they've looked in the playoffs so far that they both look pretty strong. So I'm going to go with Tigers-Reds. Okay.
I'm a little bit similar. I'm going to take the Tigers from the AL, but I like the Nationals from the NL. They have been the best team in baseball all year long. Even without Strasburg, and now they have Gio Gonzalez, they have Zimmerman, Lannon. They have pitchers who are coming in and shutting teams down. They have a good bullpen. Bryce Harper is just a stud as a teenager. And up and down their lineup, there's no real weak spots. So, I mean, the Nationals and Tigers, that's going to be a great series.
Yeah, I got the Tigers, too. I agree with Brock. I think you got the best hitter in baseball, arguably the best pitcher in baseball, and the best 3-4 combo in baseball, that being Miguel Cabrera and Prince Fielder. So I got the Tigers. I see them hoisting the trophy when it's all said and done. We'll wrap up the discussion there, guys. I want to thank Brock Galyon, VUTV Sports Analyst, and Mark Westendorp, VUTV Basketball Insider. I'm Drew Taylor. Thanks for watching. To stay up to date on all your Crusader sports, log on to ValpoAthletics.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.